Welcome everyone to the IT Retail Shop Hour Summit. As you all can see, we have Mr. Kavinder Mishra with us from Shoppers Stop. He will take us through the journey of Shoppers Stop, how the brand has focused towards premiumization, and also the challenges retail industry is facing. At the end of the session, if we have time, we'll take some questions from the audience as well. Welcome, Mr. Mishra.
Thanks, Vedant.
So, my first question to you is about the premiumization only. What is the whole thought behind it, and how are you taking it forward?
See, as India evolves and as our consumers evolve, we are seeing that across the board, aspiration becomes a very important piece. If you look at real data, the top 10% quartile of our country, which are by the NCR definition considered to be rich, are based across both metros and non-metros. So what we are seeing is that in a lot of categories, the premiumization is really working fast. People want to spend money on products and services which deliver joy for them. For example, there are categories like handbags or beauty or watches and sunglasses, where we see that the impact is very, very high, where customers are up trading without any stress. What we're also seeing is that this customer is not only based in metros. A lot of times we feel that actually premiumization is something which is more metros and less tier 1, tier 2. But we have been opening stores. Last year we opened around 15 stores. And a lot of them were in cities like Kanpur or Shillong, and we see that the impact and the percentage consumption of the premium and premium plus brands actually is higher in those cities. So what we are saying is this is something which is happening across the board. And we talk about premiumization, and a lot of time we are guilty as an industry talking only about product. But customers don't consider premiumization only as a product. It's a package of services, the experiences. So I think as retailers, what we are also saying is that wherever we are able to provide the experience to the consumer, in those categories, the premiumization becomes easier. Faizan, I'm not sure whether you are aware, but we have got a concept called personal shoppers.
Yes.
These are people, these are our folks, these are our fellow guys who actually are able to provide a higher level of service to our consumers. They know about the entire store. And what we are seeing is that the contribution of these guys, because they are able to engage with the customers, have a conversation which is not only transactional but which is built on relationship building. We are seeing that those the contribution of that particular segment is increasing highly. So what we are seeing is clearly two things. One is customers want differentiated products, and that is how they will consume with offline retail especially, and it should be backed with great experience. So that is one part of it. Other thing which we are seeing is that premiumization doesn't mean only selling very, very expensive products. For every segment, there is premiumization. For example, customers who are shopping from unorganized segment, for them an Intune is a premiumization, because which is our value concept, because they see great product, great quality at great price. So premiumization is happening across the segments. It is something which is secular, because the new Indian consumer, with the availability of information and knowledge to him or her, is able to see the global trends. Yes. And expect the best in class. So I think as retailers, and so specifically about shoppers, but more importantly as a retail industry, each of us have to ensure that we are able to provide a higher experience to the consumer. Then only premiumization journey will really work. And we are seeing that with us.
So basically upgradation at every level.
At every level. It is not only about the Gucci's of the world. Even in Intune is a premiumization, because from an unorganized, you're moving to an organized. Yeah, you're getting the consistency of the product.
But the buzzword these days is fast fashion. What are your views on that?
I mean, fast fashion is definitely is something which in a lot of markets is doing well. But I would always have a caution around this. Globally, what we are seeing is, especially in the Gen Zs, right? And Gen Z is the consuming class in the next 5 years. We are seeing actually they are moving away from fast fashion. They are moving into slow fashion. They are moving into products which are sold through thrift. So I think we should be very, very careful about, as an industry, to what level we want to drive this and to what extent we are getting consumed by this, because increasingly the global trend, and we are seeing that trends which are there being used globally are coming to India in the same year, same month. It's not taking time. So the dissipation of information is quite fast. What we are clearly seeing is that sustainability is one of the biggest trends. And how is apparel and fashion manufacturers and industry, we are able to keep the sustainability as the prime reason, because the youngsters, as they mature and as they become the consuming class, brands and products and services which are sustainable, will always take a precedence over everything else.
So is it part of the change in shoppers' behavior, which has changed a lot post-COVID as well?
Yes, I think shoppers' behavior, a typical shopping behavior has changed dramatically. If we look at the data from 2020 to 2023, around 80% of consumption of borrowing has gone into two broad categories: primarily housing, and other is vehicles. So what we are seeing is that consumers are willing to pay a little bit more, even vis-a-vis what they can afford, to have an elevated status, which also means that there is a pressure on non-status led categories.
Yes.
So I think you are seeing that change, and that's something which, as an industry, we need to also see that how you are able to, negate that by providing a better product or a better service. Because to do the same things again and again, I don't think it's going to work out for any one of us.
So the last few months were very challenging for the retail industry overall, I think.
It has been challenging, but within that also, what we have seen is that categories of brands which are able to provide a differentiation have done well. Within all the menswear brands which have not done well, there are a couple of them who have done exceedingly well. Within all the women's wear fashion brands, we have seen the ones which are doing really well. So you will always have that standout brand which is able to differentiate vis-a-vis competition. Because in this environment, if you have to take the money out from consumers' wallet, you need to be different. And similarly, we need to be different in terms of what we offer as a retail experience to the customers.
So what is Shoppers Stop doing to bring more shoppers in the store?
So a lot of changes. I think I mentioned about service and experience. We are right now piloting a couple of new concepts. We have just opened our Kanpur store with a full-fledged Starbucks, and we are seeing some amazing response there. So we believe that going forward, whether it's a store or a departmental store or any format, if you're not able to give that comfort to the consumer, you will have a challenge. So for us, I think this is an important experiment. If it works out well, this is something which we want to work on. We are also looking at pivoting into a bridge to luxury concept. Right now, it's a design stage, but hopefully by the end of the year, we should have a couple of them rolled out, which will have a very, very different Shopper Stop version. So I think that's something which we are looking at. Third is that what we have seen is that, and as I mentioned in my opening remarks, if you look at pure data, 50% of the top 10 percentile rich people of India actually are staying in tier 2 and rural areas. So what we are seeing is when you open a Shillong and when you go to that market with a completely beautiful look and feel and an elevated consumer experience, people are lapping it up, right? So we really believe that our tier 2 strategy is something we'll work on. I spoke about Kanpur. There is a reason why we chose Kanpur for a coffee experiment, because we thought it will work well. We are opening Dimapur on Saturday, similar with a coffee shop. So we are going to try out these things. Idea is, how do you give that comfort to the customer and move just beyond transactions? Other thing is, as I spoke about personal shoppers, we are really working on that concept and making them much, much stronger.
So basically, you need to keep on reinventing yourself and the store as well.
Everybody has to reinvent. Change is the only constant. We always hear about it, but I think that as the consumers change and their shopping habits change, and I'm just saying it is still very slow. Just wait for when the Gen Z comes. I have got 3 daughters and 2 of them are Gen Z. Actually, all 3 of them are Gen Z. I see the way they consume information, data, products. It's a very, very different thinking. So if you have to be relevant after 5 years, you have to start thinking and changing now.
And you talked about Kanpur and Dimapur. So are these smaller cities performing better than the metro cities?
I mean, they are doing really well. Obviously, can't share the exact numbers, but I think one data point, they consume premium products far better than metros.
And one thing we must discuss is the online shopping. Online shopping is big these days. So what are you doing towards that?
Yes, so I think true to our nature, we have to be an omni player, and that is what we want to be. All our stores are omni enabled. In fact, there are a few things which we are trying to do. I don't know whether shopping or our shoppers need a 10 minutes delivery, but can we do a same day delivery? That's something which we are working on, and hopefully very soon we should be able to roll that out. So again, going back to the convenience, going back to ensure that you're truly omni-channel is what we want to work on. We have 2 platforms. We have ss.com, which has got close to 500,000 downloads. And we have just launched a beauty platform called ssb.in, which we are now driving. And I think we are looking at our omni platforms to drive replenishment, to target the consumer better. See, I don't know that as a lot of people might not be aware, but we have got a First Citizen Club program, which is a loyalty program, which is 10 million consumers old. And with the help of the machine learning which we have gotten, it's one of the most celebrated CRM programs in the country, where actually we can reach out to the customer to the last minute, to the last T, and we are using that to drive a lot of consumer conversations.
That means you are investing a lot on tech as well.
Yeah, I think that tech investments for shoppers would be amongst the highest, and it's very advanced. In fact, our our loyalty engine, or the personas which we have, it won the award at the global level for being one of the most advanced CRM programs in the world.
Okay. And you talked about the beauty segment. I think that segment has also evolved a lot. Could you shed more light on it, how it is performing for you?
So beauty is doing really well. In fact, what you see now in beauty is a clear explosion in terms of consumption at the consumer level. So what fashion was 15 years back is what beauty is it right now. Right now, our beauty business is close to 18.5%, and we see that it should be around 25% in the next 2 years.
25%.
And clearly, we see that the beauty business for shoppers would be doubling in the next 2 to 3 years. That's the desire. We have also become, because of our partnership with global brands like Estee Lauder and MAC over the years, we have become the preferred choice of partners. So we have just entered into a exclusive partnership with NARS. We have similar thing with Armani. We just did a mega launch last week. A lot of you must have seen it. So I think there's a lot of focus on developing that kind of business.
And where do you see the industry in the next 2-3 years?
The beauty industry?
Overall, the retail industry.
So that is something. So we definitely see that we should be growing more than an industry. I mean, that's one.
As a brand.
As a business, because I think there's a lot of market share to be gained. Yes. But overall, I see very good times because the consuming habits are changing, and more importantly, the money which you are getting in the hand, right, that is increasing. So if I look at pure data and the projections which are there, we should be doubling up as an economy. So I think that should really help the retail industry, because the current consumer class is the consuming class. Because savings, again, if you go back to data, the savings are at an all-time low right now, and consumption is increasing. Now the important thing is how, as an industry, we are able to take that consumption away from competitive brackets like travel or this thing to retail. I think that's, as industry leaders, that's our responsibility to make the whole experience.
So what are you doing to bring that share back?
So we spoke about making Shoppers Stop a different destination in terms of look and feel, getting the bridge to luxury, getting cafes within a box, talking about beauty and how we are expanding that. We have Intune as a model. We have close to 30 stores. Right now, we should be close to 100 stores by end of this year, and we see that business growing. So there are enough growth engines which we have. But at the end of the day, everything is linked upon two things: how you can premiumize the customer and how you can deliver a better experience to that person.
So both value and premiumization will go to hand in hand.
Yeah. And they're doing well. Because what you call value, I consider as premiumization, because for the customer who is upgrading from unorganized to organized, that's a premiumization.
For them, yes. No, I think we can, if someone has any question, we can take that. I don't think people are curious enough. He wants to ask something. Can we give mic to him? If you can first introduce yourself and then.
My name is Gaurav Bodak. I am from Triumph Group. We are the lingerie makers. So currently we are running end of season sale in offline retail. Yeah, if I visualize end of season sale 6 years back, it used to be long queues in the stores. People are not getting access to the trial rooms. People are fighting for their sizes, and all those things are happening on the floor. Now, today, when we go to a store during end of season sale, we don't find that kind of excitement on the floor. So, any inputs on that trend from your side?
I mean, I don't know about 6 years, but maybe 10 years back, definitely that used to be the case. I think oversupply, and we as industry are guilty of that. It is not one brand or two brand. I think across the board, we have overproduced, maybe overconsumed, and I think that's the reason why you don't see that response, right? Because You don't need an end of season sale to get a discount on certain platforms, right? And if your brand is available everywhere, you will have a challenge. Even now, there are brands, and I can talk about it because we run close to 800 brands within our portfolio. Even now, there are brands who will not discount that high, and they see an uptick, right? So I think it's a question of how, as an industry, we are managing our ambitions to grow. It comes, and the responsibility is both with the retailer and the brand together. I think it's a function of both of them. So we have overdone things, maybe all of us put
No,
together.
I think that is not
You're audible.
large format retail or some. Almost every retailer
Yeah, so
and
I'm
every
talking
mall,
industry.
yeah.
I'm not talking about Shoppers Stop.
Yeah.
See, a year back, I was not with Shoppers Stop. I was running a brand like the way you are running, right? So I'm saying we are all guilty of that thing. Even now, there are brands, and I won't name any of them, but there are who have been able to hold steady and who are driving profitability. So I think it's a choice which the brand partner and the retailer has to take together, and all of us are guilty of that.
Is it also to do with the slowdown industry is facing?
Yes, so I think the moment we are able to, yes, partly slow down, but I think it can't be only slow down. It's a mixture of everything. Having said that, there are some very good learnings. So we talked about fast fashion.
Yes.
I think the biggest learning from fast fashion is that is your supply chain so dynamic that you are able to change your production, your timeline, supply chain timelines basis your revenue, right? Because what happens is typically a lot of us still are in that 6 to 9 months cycle. And once you have a 6 to 9 month cycle of demand expectation to actual revenue, you will always find those mismatches.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mishra, for the
Yeah.
time. I hope you all like this session.
Thank you.
Thank you.